Hi, I'm Erica. I just want to say thank you for clicking on this video. Today I just want to talk about a different perspective, or I guess an uncommon one, if you will, about being alone or feeling alone. This is just something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I feel like the feeling of being lonely is something that so many of us have felt before. I'm sure the majority actually of us have felt this way. And usually there's these negative emotions that come with that feeling of loneliness. But I want to talk about a different way to look at loneliness or just being alone, because I think that it could really benefit a lot of people. I know it's definitely helped me in my times of feeling this way. And really I just want to point out that it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative feeling. I also want to point out that the last thing I want to do is discredit human connection and relationships with this video. This is a bit of a different circumstance. Obviously, we are human. We need connection and community. We need to love and be loved by others. That's literally how we survive. Without human connectedness, we wouldn't be here, or we wouldn't be sane. So what I'm going to talk about in this video has nothing to do with that and isn't necessarily the same point that I'm trying to get across today. There's a poem that I read a few months ago by Rupi Kaur. When I first read it, I was like, wow, this is the most true thing I've ever read. But it does have to do with this topic, so I'm going to read it really quick. It says, "The irony of loneliness is we all feel it at the same time, together." When I first read that, I got chills. It's crazy how many of us feel alone at the same time. And we think we are alone, but really somebody else could be feeling the exact same emotions that we are. It's so ironic, but it's so true. I took some notes in my phone as I was kind of just thinking like randomly about this. I just want to propose a question, and that is that what if we looked at being alone differently? What if there weren't these negative emotions attached to it, or these negative connotations? If you feel alone in this moment right now, first of all, it doesn't mean that you are. But second, maybe feeling like this and being alone and maybe feeling like you don't have many friends, or like you don't fit in a certain place or environment, what if this is time for you to focus on you and grow as a person, grow mentally, spiritually, physically, whatever? What if this is your time? It is your time. It's up to you to look at it that way. I have moments where I feel like I don't have many friends, like I am by myself a lot, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing. I started to look at this point in my life as a time for self-development, which is something that I've always valued a lot. So the fact that right now I have the time to focus on myself and just practice self-love and do the things that I've always wanted to do without any kind of distractions, that is an amazing opportunity, a blessing in disguise, if you will. What if this is the time to do that thing that you've always wanted to do, that you've always felt like, oh, I've never had the time to because you'd rather be doing social things, or you were in a relationship before, or who knows why you never did it, but this is the time. There's no better time than this present moment right now. To find serenity in your solitude is such an amazing feeling. Personally, I am an introvert, so being around others actually drains my energy, whereas if you're like an extrovert, I know that it's the opposite. You get energy from being around others, and that's why I feel like feeling alone when you're an extrovert can actually be harder than if you are an introvert already. I value my personal alone time a lot. I always have and I always will. For those of you who are extroverted, just know that you still should dedicate time for yourself. You should still value self-care and self-love. While being around others is fun and it's a great time, just don't lose sight of who you are as a person and what you love to do on your own time. I look at this alone time that I have, or these feelings of loneliness that I have, and I turn it around and turn it into an opportunity to expand my understanding of myself. Because it starts with you and how you view yourself. Because honestly, everyone else that you meet and interact with is a reflection of who you are. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. If you meet a good person who has good qualities, they reflect your good qualities. And then if you meet someone who doesn't have some of the best qualities, that is a sign that there are things that you need to still work on as well. How we perceive people ultimately is how we perceive ourselves. If we love ourselves, then we can love others, and we can love so much deeper than surface level. We can't give love that we don't even have for ourselves. We can always try, but we're always gonna end up just feeling empty inside or tired because we've given too much of what we don't really have. And that's why it's so important to take time for yourself and be selfish every once in a while. Obviously, service is the most gratifying thing that you can do, and I think everyone should give to others. At the end of the day, this is your life. You are you, and I think one of my favorite quotes, it's by Maud's son, I don't know it word for word, but it's like, how can anyone learn to love being alone if they don't love the person they're alone with? I also just feel like people get so caught up in what everybody else thinks of them. And it's like, another one of my favorite quotes by Jay Shetty. It says something like, I'm not who you think I am. I'm not who I think I am. I'm who I think that you think I am. We just get so caught up in our image, and our ego is just what starts guiding us. And literally, I think the negative connotation of being and feeling alone comes from the ego, and the ego's urge to just crave this need for attention and validation from others, when we really can give ourselves that. That's all we need. Our own acceptance and validation is all we need to be happy. Like, you don't need to depend your happiness on anyone else but yourself. And that's really the way it should be. You should be who you are because you love that person, not because other people do, not because other people like to see you act a certain way or be a certain way. You should be who you are because that is your truth and your truth only, and it only should matter to you. And what I mean is, like, be the best version of yourself. Do your best every day to be kinder, to be more giving, to be a little more selfless, but still put yourself first. I know sometimes that's easier said than done, but my main point is just to encourage you all to love yourself and to be okay feeling alone. We don't have to dwell on this feeling. We can turn it around and, you know, use it as an opportunity, again, like I said, to further grow ourselves and our minds. I don't know, I just feel like there's so much for us to learn out there, and so much for us to do and to discover about ourselves. And that is why being alone can be so valuable. But at the same time, of course, interacting with others is so necessary for us to live a good life and be happy. And I'm not trying to disregard that in any way. but I just want to point out that it really does depend on how you look at things, and our perspective really makes a difference on how we view the world and how we view our lives and how we view ourselves and others. We are in control. We do have the power to choose a positive outlook. I hope that made sense, and I hope that maybe it helped you in some way. Just know that you're not alone, first of all. Everyone feels that way at some point in their life. And this doesn't have to be a bad thing. This doesn't have to be a bad point in your life. Things are going to get better, no matter what. Always love yourself first. I love you guys, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.